Hey, 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 friends and family and everyone out at sea. Welcome to another fine edition of the day after my wife's birthday. This show is a JK brought to you by your pals, Keith and Kevin Powell, and Jason Tudor sitting right in front of you. I gave you two names just then. See, that's how bad it is.
You
All right.
just did.
That's not bad, though.
I can't
So,
tell you how many
anyway,
times I've been called Kevin.
hey,
Yeah.
everybody, welcome to the party. And we got an hour with you tonight, as we always do. I'm looking up at my French clock, which is 5.5 minutes slow. Oh, well, I got to speed it up. And we here,
That's because
but
it's
we have a lot
French.
to talk about. But once again, we are bracketless. But we have a bracket now. Hello, Daniel. We have a bracket now. That we will incorporate next week. My father, of all the people, has come through with a fantastic. Actually, he always has good ideas. I shouldn't say that. My father has come through with a bracket, and that will be next week, and it is best movie sayings. So, make my day, and here's looking at
Ah,
you, kid,
well,
which I don't think is a real one.
well,
All
bye.
right. Also, all the real ones. I'll be back, which I just watched a great feature on Schwarzenegger talking about that. I'll be back. It will be on. So that'll all be on there. Probably go 16 deep because it's a lot of
Cool.
content, and I will take care of that tomorrow as we roll into Monday. We are all, for some reason, not looking forward to tomorrow. I'm not sure why, but as I mentioned to you, 5 hours ago, have felt like shit since last night. And really, I took a pretty good nap. I
Party
woke
too
up and
much with Dee.
yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. But took a good nap, and then about
Good
an
for
hour
you.
after that, I finally felt right. So, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Siri screwed me over today or this weekend. It's supposed to rain all weekend.
Yeah,
It was
it's
beautiful
been
all week.
sunny.
A little chilly.
Yeah,
Yeah, sunny, but 40, 42
because even Didi
degrees.
was like, "Are you guys gonna golf?" I said, "It's a little cold. I think Keith and I are both in agreement on the temperatures. Kind of got to be above, like 50 or above, is kind of our barometer to golf."
Yes.
So, uh, anyway, good to see all of you. PJ's on. Let's see. Daniel's here. So I see Daniel and
Daniel
PJ.
Nathaniel.
Where's Ray? Did Ray show up? Yeah, Ray's right at the
Ray's
top.
there.
Gentlemen, yeah, right. Exactly, Ray. Good point. So, and if you're joining us from the watch party, please bop on over to the live feed and say hi. So what have you been doing? What's been your once again lockdown weekend? Because we snuck out somewhere and we managed to get in a castle walk and buying.
Don't make me an accomplice to your
I'm
shit.
not going to say where it
Don't
is. I'm
make
not
me
going
an
to
accomplice.
incriminate myself, but I'm just saying that we got some good wine and we managed to walk around a castle on both days. I have a funny story though
Yes.
that goes with that, but you haven't told us how you're doing yet.
I'm doing good.
What have you been
Good
up
news
to?
from the home. You know, I uh, I finished Breaking Bad last night
What
and
did you
then
think?
immediately watched. I really enjoyed Breaking Bad.
Mm-hmm.
I was less. I didn't think El Camino was as good. Kind of the wrap up movie,
Okay.
but there's about 15 minutes until the end. You just go, wait, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And so that was a good part of the movie.
Right.
I don't like the Jesse character, the Aaron Paul character, because I think he's a whiny little baby. And he's always screwing things up, which I know that's the character. That's the way the character's written. I get that, but I don't like that character.
Right.
So I like the Walter White's sister-in-law, so his wife's sister, I think needed to be punched in the mouth several times, but because she just won't shut up and gets people in trouble. But other than that, I really enjoyed the show. I liked the movie.
So
I'm
most
going to
people.
take a break and not. I'm not going to jump into Better Call Saul
Mm,
soon.
yeah.
I'm going to give it a break. I'm going to and start
Most people concur that
WandaVision. I'm sure
actually
we'll
the
get to.
second to the last episode, which has a cool name that I can't remember, is better than the last. I mean, they're both historically awesome, but a lot of people
Yes,
say that the second to the last episode, which is like Nosferatu, or has some kind of they give it some kind of
right.
Greeky Roman name that they do.
I'm sure
Um,
somebody will tell us what it is.
yeah, somebody will put it up in the chat in a minute. And that actually that was the tantamount episode that a lot of people were like, "This is how you end a series," and then they ended the series, which I
Yeah.
actually watched that episode. I actually go watch the second to last and the last, And I thought, yeah, I mean, it's good quality stuff. So, and if you're joining us from the Brook Mulebach Misau neighborhood group, how are you? We're talking about local stuff. And so Dee Dee was saying, to kind of switch gears, and we'll get back into entertainment later, that March 3rd, I think, is the next big day. But we just got the 16th ordinance. And supposedly, one of the things
Yes.
that's come out with the 16th ordinance is that we're back to 14-day quarantine. So we're trying to
There
figure that
is a
out.
little bit of, yeah, there's a
Right.
little bit of miscommunication in there somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
but I read it today when I went into work and put it on the website. It is 14 days according to the 16th ordinance, which
Right.
surprises me somewhat.
Yeah, me too. I don't know. I don't think the temper with the vaccine rolling out, especially in the American community at large, um, as much as it is. I just don't think people are going to have the temperament and the patience anymore to sit on their hands. And I mean, if they have to, they have to. But I just think I don't know. I just think there's going to be a divergence here where Americans are going to be like, well, we're going to do this in our community, and you can do that in your community. But I mean, I don't want to do too much insider baseball other than to say, it's we're just reaching a point here where there's vaccines and there's this, but there's still numbers going up, and it's a weird time right now. But that March 3rd meeting could be a pretty big deal.
Yeah, and yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of eyes on that. And I'm like you, I want to travel. I came to Europe to work for
Hmm.
a friend, to work for somebody who I knew by reputation. I'm
Right.
pointing at you,
Right.
and now we've got another great coworker in there with us, uh, and and oh, by the way, and maybe even bigger reason I came over is to travel to places like this behind me, which isn't too far away.
Right.
But this is Berncastle Coos. This is a picture I took when we went down there July 4th.
Right.
Um, but places like that, the storybook villages and things like that,
Hmm.
and Bastogne and Normandy are on my bucket list, and
Hmm.
other Germany and all around Europe, Ireland. I have to get to Ireland.
Right.
But and I think you're absolutely right. The only reason I say all that is to say that, yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of grumbling. I
Hmm.
mean, we see it on our social media pages already. There's going to be a lot of grumbling. There's going to be a lot of questions we have to answer because they come to our social media pages, and a lot of questions, or should I
Well,
say answers, that commanders throughout Europe
right.
are going to have to give.
If you're not a military person, also, I think there's a consideration as well for if you're a civilian worker, you choose to come here. And part of the reason why you choose to come here and endure the heavy taxes that you pay right before you sort of punch in and endure the hardships of sort of the first 6 months of having to file a TQSA and get into a house and do those kinds of things, those initial sort of psychological hardships, they are, and that's what they are, is because of the things that you're
Very
talking about.
stressful. Very stressful.
Is because when you're sort of done with that, and in between, you're going to Trier, you're going to Luxembourg, you're going to Paris, you're going to Garmisch, you're going to Rimini, Italy, or you're flying around, and you're using this place as a jumping off point to go travel to places that you've just read about as a child and something like that. Right? So I think it's a big
Exactly.
deal. So I think what's going to start happening because people are getting vaccinated, because they know better, because they're thinking, well, I look over and see in America that people are still going to movies and they're attending sporting events and they're doing all these things. I'm just going to curtail my tour and get out of here. I mean, why not? Why am I stuck here
Yeah.
basically in a German prison? And that's a little over exaggeration, admittedly. But why am I
Ooh,
stuck
careful how you
here?
say that. Ooh.
Well, I'm just saying, why am I stuck here in kind of a prison that happens to be in Germany, that where I can only go to the commissary and the BX and other things. And I heard they're going to do stores like by appointment or something weird like that, which is even stranger. I get that they're opening
Yeah.
it, but the bigger point is if I can't have the freedom to just go out, there's my dad, hi dad, to go out and do stuff.
Hey, Dad.
Why am I here? Right? Why not be at Fort Bliss, where at least I can go to Oklahoma, or I could go to Arkansas, or wherever. Or if I'm in Fort Irwin, I can go to Hollywood, or where I can move around and do things. without infecting people, wearing my mask and keeping my distance supposedly. But again, I think there's some consideration to that as people sort of come online and begin sort of like, okay, I'm for instance, you and I are vaccinated. Okay, doesn't mean we're bulletproof, but on the other hand, we are vaccinated. So it's kind of the okay, then what? Right? If we're vaccinated, are we still all going to get locked down? And then there's just the speed to which the vaccine is reaching the market here in Germany. How many people are getting inoculated? One of our coworkers is having to wait, I think, until May or June. We've had coworkers who've been sick with this, who've been very sick with this, and it's no kidding. So, I mean, this is just an interesting as we sort of continue on here in the local hour, so to speak. It's an interesting sort of period of COVID, and I do think that March 3rd meeting, perhaps even more so than the last, which was basically, they came on and said last first, same as the first. This meeting will be a lot more crucial, because what I think they need to say is stores are open, everything's open, mask wear, just keep your distance, and so on and so forth. But if they can enforce a mask mandate and get vaccines to market quickly, then yeah, maybe they are going to have another spike. But on the other hand, I think, Obi, so the company Obi, where I had to go buy wood pellets from to warm my house,
Yes.
they
Going,
sued the German government, sued them because people weren't allowed to go in and get their stuff. But I think they won, or that may still be pending. That's the one I read on Thursday or Friday. Why can't I go in and just get some?
Well, obviously they're open,
right? If the one that always gets me is I can go to the BX, but the comic book store that my daughter wants to go into every single time just to get a comic book can't be open. Now they can lift up the awning halfway and go, "Hey, do you have this Naruto anime volume 2?" And the person can stumble back there and go look for it. Go, "Yeah, I have it. Okay," and they'll sell it to you, but you can't go in the store. How is it any different from going in the BX and saying, "Okay, there can only be 5 people in the store at a time," or whatever? Again, these rules are starting to get. I've matured in this process of saying, okay, when we started early on, yep, a certain number of people in the store seemed like the right way to go. And then as the numbers really bloomed, it was, okay, yeah, we probably do need to just take a break. But we did that. We've done all that. So at this point, you really are. We're in a buyer beware sort of mode. I mean, I can't think of another way to say it. We're in a buyer beware sort of mode, and that means that you have to wear your mask or your masks. You have to be inoculated, and we already know the rules. What is it? Today's the 28th, right? That's not a leap year. So that means in my mind, I don't know about yours, but in my mind, tomorrow is 1 year. That's 1 year for me, is March 1st. I know different people have a different way to marking the year with the first COVID death or whatever, but just mentally for me, and I even checked my memories on Facebook to kind of buoy this up for me, tomorrow is 1 year. And it was a little bit after tomorrow that when we went into HPCon Charlie, we locked all the shit down, and we were just
telework and all that,
big time telework, and we were sitting on our hands, and we were kind of just okay. This is is this the bubonic plague or whatever, right? So, but here we are a year later. We've sort of done the dress rehearsals and the tech rehearsals. We blocked it different ways. We've lit it different ways. We moved the props around. We moved everything around. We've repainted the backdrops. We've done all this shit. Okay, let's get on with doing our play. And I did that on purpose for you, but again, we've sort of we've been through all this. We know the safety measures. There are intelligent people who want to get on with our lives. Let's get on with our lives. Make a separate shred of Ryanair for people who understand that wearing their masks is the protocol, and have another shred of Ryanair for stupid people who don't want to wear their masks, or something like that, right? Or whatever it might be. Anyway, I've been blabbering. Your turn.
No, I agree with everything you said. I don't think we're going to get away from wearing a mask for a long time. I think a mask is still going to be the norm.
Yeah.
And even though, as they told us, even though you're vaccinated, you could still get it. It just won't be as bad.
Right.
And you may still be able to transmit it. But again, that's why you wear the damn mask.
Right.
So,
but you know what? At that point, it's like any other fucking thing, like the flu. If you have the flu, you could probably transmit it to somebody, right? That's it. Or if you have a cold, right? But the point is, I'm sorry. Go ahead. still ranting, and
No,
I don't
you're
want to be
exactly
ranting.
right. The we're all taking the precautions. We all know which precautions to take. We're 360, 70 days into this
Right.
now, and so everybody knows what they should do.
Right.
If you're complaining now about, well, I can't go in there because I have to wear a mask, then
Right.
you're the idiot.
Yeah. Yeah. It's too old
So
for
if you
that.
want to fly, yeah, if you want to go, say, you want to take a Ryanair hop to Ireland for $45, uh, you know, you need to wear the mask. You need to have the hand sanitizer.
Right.
You need to do the right things in order to do the things you want to do.
Right.
I may not have jumped in with both feet like you have, but I am certainly leaning that way. Hey, you know what? We all know what we're supposed to be doing. Let's do the right thing so we can do the things we want to.
Right.
And I get it. That may be because I came here to travel.
Yep.
It may be different if I was living back in Oklahoma, Oklahoma, the state that at one time had the fourth highest number of cases in the world.
Yeah.
But the numbers are starting to level off in the states.
By the way,
The numbers are starting to go down in the states.
we've got a few more people who've popped
Go
on.
ahead.
You're probably in either Keith's or my or the Brooke Muehlbach watch party. Just pop on over to the main show feed and sign in and say hi so we know you're here. Dad, we took your bracket idea, as I said that to you in our messaging, but that'll definitely be the bracket next week. I've got to come up. Keith and I will scheme up some good phrases, but go ahead, Keith.
No, I think you're exactly right. And like I said, I'm leaning that way.
Right.
Everybody's tired of COVID.
Everybody's
And
yeah.
I will hazard I will even put this out there that you and I and everybody who's here in Europe, especially the Americans, are more tired than our friends back in the States because we've had to deal with I don't want to say draconian, what's needed measures
Right.
because they work. We're seeing the numbers most places go down unless there's a group of stupid people doing stupid things. We see the numbers
There are
working.
always groups of
So we
stupid
have
people
where
doing stupid things.
everything but essential services have been closed down since November in Germany and most of Europe. So when he says we can go to the BX, we can go to the commissary, that's it. We can go to the equivalent out on the economy, as they call it, the German version of the Walmart or the Kmart or whatever,
Globus, yeah.
and that's it. Yeah, Globus and like you said, Obi's back open now. So
All right.
I'm excited that with the measures that start tomorrow, I can get a haircut again. I have an appointment for, I forgot, either Tuesday or Wednesday.
I'm still going to cut my
so
own
I
one
will
more
get a
time.
haircut.
I'm still going to cut my own one more
you go-
time, I think, because
go ahead
the
with
line to get in the fucking barbershop is going to be unbelievable.
That's why you need an appointment.
So I may be doing a live hair cuttery right here on the show just to prove that I can do it. I'll just run the feed
Nice.
through here and we'll get it done. So you're watching this show as a JK with your pals Jason and Keith. Don't forget, the first 20 minutes is always the local hour. We talk nothing but local stuff, talking about Ramstein, and so I like to affectionately call it the KMC social hour. So we're glad to have you along. You heard about the protests, right? Did you go get out today and go get involved in that little fracas?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, me either.
No, I went to I went to the office
Yeah.
to do that little bit of work, and then I went
okay.
to the commissary over on Vogelway, and
Right.
no, I stayed away from that.
right.
Was it a COVID protest?
I don't know. I don't care. So it was just a protest that was downtown near the 11 soccer people statues and something like that. George Brown knows more about these things than we are. George, if you're watching, sign in and tell us what the protest was about. All right, let me get before I tell my funny story about and wrap up the local hour here. All right, so Nathaniel says it's been pouring in Hawaii. It rains in Hawaii. Why do I want to move there? Let's see. Cloudy and 70 in Tejas. PJ and Ray, my wife was looking at homes in Houston today. The ending is based on El Paso,
Go
right?
North
The
Houston.
Marty Robbins song. Yeah, I remember that. Felina, is that the second to last episode? I think so. Texas governor is rumored to be considering doing away with the mask mandate. Of course he is. And that's it. Okay, so that wraps up those comments. All right, here's the funny story. So, as I said, I don't want to. We went to a castle and we went elsewhere this weekend, so we got out of the house. I'm not going to give away where we went, but
Yeah, yeah.
in the process of that, we went shopping for a particular kind of food item that I love. Okay, so George Brown is here. Thank you, George. He says
Hey,
we are
George.
correct, and they want less restrictions. Daniel Nathaniel says, "Yep, I knew that, Daniel. I knew that." He says, "My hometown is the rainiest city in the northern hemisphere." I knew that. I actually knew that. They want okay. So we went shopping at a grocery store, and they have this particular kind of food, which I love. Which we actually went to Paris to take a class in how to make this food, and it's very not complex, but it's one of those things that I'm of a certain age. If I was like 20, I might do it and be very good at it. But I'm a certain age, and I'll just go buy them in a store because that's how it works for a lot of things, and they're just as good as if
Right.
I'd. But the ones we made in Paris were really good, and we brought them home, and I ate every one of them. And I'm the only one who really likes them, so we bought 4 boxes of them. And we were going to give 1 box to some friends of ours, and then we were going to give the 3 boxes were going to be for me because, again, I love them. So anyway, we are in the grocery store, and we brought our own bags. And the first thing that I remember doing is taking the 4 boxes of these things, putting them in the bag, at the bottom of the bag, so they were kind of the foundation for the rest of the bag so the rest of the shit doesn't flop around, right? Because I'm an organized bagger. I'm a good bagger. If they ever need, like if I decide to be that old retiree here in the area, I'm going to be the best bagger you ever got to take the shit out to your car if my hip survives that long. So anyway, put that nice foundation in there, and then just started stacking the rest of these sort of hard goods in one, and then the refrigerated goods always go in a different bag. We're up to 11 viewers now. Welcome everybody again. If you're on a watch party, come over to
Everybody.
to the main feed, say hi like George Brown did, and helping us correct the protest thing, and then also sign in so we know you're here. So anyway, put them in the bottom of the bag, get everything, boom, get them in the grocery in the cart, boom. We go from there to make another stop at a little a store that we like to go to. When we're out near this other grocery store, we come home. We are organizing some things for my new next door neighbor because we made him a little welcome basket. And we're also organizing things for Annabelle's cousin. My sister Jennifer has a daughter named Avery, and she sent Annabelle this nice box with a thing that she made. It was very nice, and so Annabelle decided to organize a nice box back. And write a nice letter. It was all very nice. It was nice, very nice.
Very nice. Very nice.
So that got done, and then we were organizing this sort of collection of things that we got for some friends of ours. Again, welcome to. We got a lot of viewers tonight. Welcome. If you're on the watch parties, please bop on over to the main show feed. This show is a JK. And sign in the comments. Let us know you're here so we can say hello.
Just say hi.
We always let our commenters. So anyway, we start organizing all the stuff for these people who are our good friends who are kind of in the same bucket you are. You came here wanting to travel, expecting to do a lot more in Germany, and they've been basically holed up in their house. They've also had problems with command sponsorship and TQSA. It's a real pain in the ass. I feel really bad for them. They're really good people, really just the nicest people. So we got these things together for them, and we said, hey, we're going to run this stuff out to your house. Do you want us to come out? They're like, no, we're out visiting a castle in Germany, and we're going to be back sometime later. We'll come by your house. I was like, cool. So George says 110 cars with 150 people at the protest. Okay, so we know they're coming over in about a half hour. So we start going through, and we had just finished dinner. So I'd eaten, I forgot what we eaten, but it was really good. And we went to we did macaroni grill last night. We got takeout. I got the lamb chops. They were really good. Right.
I keep forgetting about macaroni grill.
Really good. I highly recommend the lamb chops. They're really good. So anyway,
lamb chops are wonderful.
Yeah, they're great. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go for my dessert because this thing that we got is a dessert. I'm going to go grab 1 box of these and just wolf them down because that's what you do with them. That's what I do. Most people would probably eat like 2 different flavors and go, oh, I have eaten these. But I'm like, nom, nom. So it was right after dessert. So I go to grab one and I'm like, hey, Dee Dee, where are the things? And she goes, what do you mean? I said, where are the things that we bought? They're not in the fridge. She goes, well, look on the counter. Look on the counter. They're not there. She goes, where are they? I said, I don't know. So we literally like busted apart the refrigerator, looked in our pantry, all they were just gone. They were just vanished. Literally just gone. So I must have rechecked the pantry 5 times. I rechecked the refrigerator at least 6 times. Checked the freezer 3 times. Um, Counter, they were
You
just
did that
gone.
like a European.
I did. I've got this down now.
Yeah, you got this
Checked
down.
all of these at least 3 or 4 times. Nothing. Not a fuck. So she's like, "Oh, they're probably out in the car. Go look in the car." They were not out in the car. They were nowhere to be found. They were just vanished. So now we have the mystery of the lost dessert items in the KMC triangle because I have no frigging idea where any of this shit went. And it is the weirdest thing. So they came over, were like, "Hey, we bought you a box of these, but they just vanished. Jason doesn't have his. We don't have ours. Weirdest thing." And they're like, "Oh, we don't care because
I'm
we got us some
intrigued.
other things too," and they were fine with that. So anyway, it was the weirdest thing, and that's how I'm wrapping up the local hours. So it was very strange.
You never found them?
No, no, they're just fucking gone, and I have no
That's not
idea
the
where
way
they
to end
are.
the fucking
And
story, Jason.
and I know, they're just gone. So I'll have to tell you what they were in the morning. So again, none of us get say I don't. I wanted to say UCMJ violation, but I'm well past that.
Not us.
Anyway, but like I said,
We
I
just
wasn't
don't want it recorded.
I wasn't the only one out and about yesterday. So
Wow.
so
Yeah,
you
I have to start doing that. Get my ass out of my recliner and do that. Even locally,
sometimes
even
you
hit some of the spots I hit when I first got here.
sometimes you just got to you just got to say we're going to that, which is what we did. We just said let's just go, and it turned out there were dozens of other people with KL plates with us. So again, I won't disclose where we went, but they were there with us. So you wrapped up.
And just
Go ahead.
go ahead.
No, you finish up.
I was
Finish up,
just
then
going
we'll
to say
move on
for
to
our
entertainment.
listeners, when he says KL plates, he's not saying kale. He's saying
Kale.
KL.
Except for Yvonne, if she's listening, I am saying kale.
Yes. No, you're not. For Kaiser Slaughter, and that's the K and the L are
Kaiser
on
Slaughter.
with a lot of other numbers on the license plate. That's how
Yeah.
you know where somebody's from. If it says KL, it's Kaiser Slaughter. So go ahead.
A Kaiser Slaughter license plate. Okay.
Way to go with the Karnak.
You got to do Jeff.
Nice.
I almost said Jeff McMahon. All right. So what was it that you really? I mean, at the end of the day, what was it about Breaking Bad that you really enjoyed? Because I just have zero interest in it, and I have that for a lot of reasons, including my own personal background, my upbringing. I had a bit of a dysfunctional family, and I don't need to be reminded, and of drugs especially. But what was it about that really was compelling to you?
Number one, I will always see Bryan Cranston as the dad on Malcolm in the Middle.
Right.
So to see him in this, I thought the acting, again, I wasn't great about the character of Jesse, but I thought the acting was phenomenal from everybody from Bryan Cranston to Anna Gunn, who was his wife, to the son, to the character actor Dean Norris, who played his brother-in-law. I thought, and everybody in between.
Right.
The bad guys, the good guys. I thought the acting was phenomenal. I thought sorry, something just dinged in my ear.
That was my headphones coming apart.
The cinematography was fan-freaking-tastic.
Right.
Albuquerque, the New Mexico, which I lived in Clovis, New Mexico, so I'm familiar-ish with that part of the world.
Right.
I thought the writing was fantastic. The guy's last name is Gilligan, and so I look up things. I love
Vince
having
Gilligan.
the internet at hand. Yeah, thank you. When I'm watching stuff or reading stuff,
Right.
I can look things up. Oh, I'm reading. We were at this airbase. Oh, I can look up this airbase.
Right.
Or we were, this thing. How many awards? So Cranston won the Emmy for Best Actor in a Drama all 5 years the show was on the air.
Yes, he did.
The wife, Anna Gunn, won, I think, 3 Best Female. Anyway, I those are the things I liked about it. I love the story. Now
Right.
there were times when I thought, "Oh, come on. Don't make that same mistake for the fourth time now." Kind of thing.
But
Or
fairly, people are
you know
fallible. We'll make the
Jesse's
same mistake over and over if it's part of our. Yeah, we're getting to WandaVision,
yeah.
Ray. Don't worry. I will lead that discussion.
Yeah, Jesse's just going to fuck it up.
Right.
He is, right?
Right. Right.
That kind of thing. So, but other than that, I really liked it. Like I said, I have, I would recommend it to anybody who asked.
Right. So my thing is, again, I acknowledge that it's probably one of the two or three greatest television shows on that existed, and it saw its end, which I thought was really good. Unlike, say, what are the two series that just ended in not just, but like Lost ended in tremendous catastrophe because they didn't know how to wrap it up. And what
Right.
was the other one? Game of Thrones, right? They got to
Oh yeah, yeah.
season 8 and they went,
Not a great last
huh?
season.
What are we gonna? You guys gonna? We got dragons, right? Okay, we got. What else you wanted? What's fire?
Yeah.
I mean, and that was again. I didn't
Somebody's
watch.
got to die.
I didn't. I
Yeah.
watched
Who are
Game
we
of
killing
Thrones the
off?
first season, and I'm all for Cinemax B movie porn, but that's all it seemed like the first movie or the first season was about. Was just it was a Cinemax skin slap fest, and I was like, all right, you know what? Maybe I'll come back to the second season, and when I did, I didn't care for it.
I
So
didn't have a problem with that.
so again. I'm one of these people. Not one of these people. I don't watch a lot of TV. So again, I get that, but I get that Breaking Bad was a very, very good show, and that a lot of people were compelled by it. In the same way that I get that certain other shows are people are compelled by. The show that I am currently, well, I'm reserving judgment, but the show that I'm currently compelled by mostly is WandaVision. Which did you see the latest episode?
Yes.
All right, so we're going to talk about
Yes, I
WandaVision
did.
now. If you haven't seen
Spoiler alert.
WandaVision, we'll count down from 10 so you can break away. But we're going to talk about WandaVision, and then we're going to not talk about it. So, what I would recommend is let's see where we are on the clock here. If you come back at about 5 minutes, let's see, it's 8. Tell you what, we'll give ourselves until 8:40 on this one. If you come back at 8:40, we should be done. But it's your call. All right, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so we're talking about WandaVision, and this is the spoilers part of the show if you didn't see it. So, George, you should break away then because we're going to talk about it now. So, I guess I'm not sure if it was just that initial sort of catch up with the first 6 episodes, or if it was that whole metamorphosis of 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s aughts TV that I was kind of like, okay, where is this leading? Even though, as you and I spoke about, we sort of knew where it was leading. We talked about it in the first couple of episodes when you started it, and then I started it about a couple weeks after you did. And I was really like, okay, this is great, because in my head, I've got all this other different comic book knowledge where I'm going, oh, this could happen, or it would be cool if they brought so and so in from MCU at this point, or it'd be interesting to see. But
Right.
so everything sort of checked the boxes until the last 2 episodes. The episode before this one, I thought was, as I said on my Facebook page, the most bland of the episodes I've seen. I didn't say it was bad. I said it was bland, as in I really worked through those first, I think 6 or 7, I think it was 6 episodes, and we got Kat Dennings back in there, who I thought was great. And then this
Love her.
episode was kind of like, okay, it was the photon reveal, it was the Agnes reveal. It was that sort of thing, and I sort of knew Agnes was coming because I knew a bit of that comic book lore. I was like, okay, got it, or Agatha, whatever. And then about this sort of subplot of them, sort of Vision as a weapon and this sort of thing, and so on and so forth. So I just wasn't that. This episode to me was kind of like I. It felt unnecessary to me, but then so I have to always remember I'm not a comic book expert by any means, but I know about the comic books. I think she's going to be Spectrum, right? Spectrum, as Daniel mistakenly wrote a little typo there. No problem. But there doesn't always have to be a backstory to everything, right? So I couldn't figure out why Agatha was sort of putting us through this let's go through door number 1. Let's go through door number 2. And it's sort
Right.
of revealing, I guess, the reality of how they got there, because you remember in the previous episode, you see Wanda breaking in and sort of busting out and stealing Vision's body and then bringing it with her, which was, of course, subterfuge, either that Agatha caused or that Sword caused, because Sword now, as we saw in the last scene, the ending credits bit, there's the White Vision, which was only around for a couple of years, until they sort of retransformed him back into his old self. So that part was interesting to me in terms of what could happen there, and I have a feeling I think could happen there. Maybe it'll follow a sort of parallel storyline like the Star Trek. I think it's what's the one where they face the Borg, and I think it's Data, and they think he's one of them, and then he's not one of them, and then he saves the day. That I think I could follow that kind of storyline, and so on and so forth. Daniel says one reviewer said there was a missed opportunity to go. Yeah, agree. They could have done a game show with the Doors. I agree with that too. I just thought it was. Again, I guess it was the rush of catching up on the 6th episodes, and now that I'm watching it from week to week, it's a bit of a tedium. But I want to see it, and there are some great moments, and I love Paul Bettany, and I think Elizabeth Olsen is great, though it's hard to sort of justify Elizabeth Olsen and Pietro as I think they were sort of Romani, using the old term gypsies, but Roma dissidents when they're both, again, sort of blonde hair, blue eyed, and so on and so forth. So, but anyway, thought it was okay, not fantastic. Ray, would love to hear your opinion, what you thought, how you're following it, how you're enjoying it. But thought it was fine. But I guess there's a good tension building up as to how Sword is going to go in and sort of put this thing to a stop, and how Agatha is going to sort of react with her powers, and how she has her Scarlet Witch name, which I'm sure was just they were waiting to make sure they had all the rights back from Fox or whatever. So, what was your thought? You've seen it, right?
Yeah, and let me step back and go. I'm not one of these comic guys that knows all the backstory.
Right. Yep.
Okay, I'm not. So I enjoy. I thought this one was better than the previous one.
Right. Agree. Yeah.
So when she's doing this and we're learning this and this and this, I thought it was good. And of course, you and I talked during the week, and so that gives me a little bit of knowledge on why Agatha is who she is, and then we saw what she did, how powerful she is.
Right.
So I enjoyed all that. What where I go next is, okay, this is going to wrap up in some form by the end of the season. I don't even know how many episodes
there's
there
one
are.
more. Well, Ray just said she loves it, but sad there's only one season. Too many questions. So this was the penultimate episode, which is the second to last. So
Okay.
the next week's episode, and this was a 60-minute episode, which I thought was interesting. And next week's will be a 60-minute as well, which in TV terms is actually 45 minutes. So.
Right. So, well, okay, I did not know that. So they're going to have to wrap it up. So my thought is, does she go back to say, okay, you're right, I shouldn't be doing all this. Vision is dead. There's nothing I can do about it. Or, again, I don't know the lore, so I don't know the canon, if you will.
But if you
So,
I think the big thing is, Keith, if you like it, you like it, and that's cool. I'm just really picky about TV anyway. When I start seeing tropes or things going down avenues I don't like, I just switch shit off immediately, and that's just me. PJ says this is all a setup for Doctor Strange. There's no wrap up. So I have some opinions about that. Some pretty violent ones, actually. My first is, you may all remember a movie called Dark Tower that came on a few weeks back, which is, by the way, we're done spoiling WandaVision at this point, so you can all come back. I think I've wrapped up on time. Let me look. Yep, just before on time. So if you're coming back, or if you didn't leave at all, congratulations, we're done spoiling. But anyway, there was a movie called Dark Tower. It had my boy. Why can't I think of his name? He's my boy, and I can't think of his name. African American Idris Elba. So Idris Elba was, I think, and I don't know much about the Dark Tower and the Stephen King book, but everybody was excited about. Matthew McConaughey was the villain, and it was like, oh, Dark Tower, good. They're redoing this, but the discovery about Dark Tower. God, I've got a little gas from my soda. There we go. The discovery about Dark Tower was that
Let it out.
it was literally just a setup to be setting up a universe of TV shows which never materialized. So it sort of never really had an ending. It was all just it was literally like an 89-minute trailer for whatever the TV series was going to be, right? So here the fuck we are, and this is a great point PJ brings up with this is all a setup for Doctor Strange. There's no wrap up. And I'm okay if it's a setup for Doctor Strange. I'm okay with that. As long as the series ends. Because like anybody, when you watch a show for 9 episodes, you want a beginning, a middle, and an end. Because when you get to a book, it goes, the end, and that's the end of that story.
Yeah.
It shouldn't just end with, now go see Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, or whatever they're going to call it. Because that is just a dupe. And I think I paid for the subscription to Disney Plus because of Mandalorian, which was holistically
Right.
fantastic, right? And so, and this has been good. I've really enjoyed this, and I wanted it, and mostly because you'd been like, hey, it's been, I'm interested in this, and then I started seeing a couple of other friends, and I'm like, all right, let me get into this, because we started talking about the premise of it sort of being a mind fuck of sorts, which is what it bore itself out to be. Again, I don't think I'm spoiling that part. I think people know that part already, even if you're 2 episodes in. But it shouldn't be just 8 episodes of run up to a movie, which is to me an awful dupe. And even if I only paid, if I watched all the episodes in a month, I guess that's $6.99 or whatever it is. I just still feel like we'd be cheated out of that, and that's the stuff that makes me not want to watch television. Like, okay, am I gonna be satisfied when I watch this? And like I said, so far as the answer is yes. I said the last episode was bland. It didn't mean I didn't like it, and this episode was better. Again, it didn't mean I didn't like it. It just I have different expectations than most people when they watch TV. Most people when they watch TV, they go and they wait. In my head, I'm going, okay, they did this, so they're setting up this, so they're probably going to do this, so that means they're going to do this, and they should did it. In my head, I'm a writer, so I'm constantly just going, okay, is this plot point going to evolve, or this one? I'd really like this one. That's my expectation. So in my head, that's what I'm doing. Whereas most people are going, I'm just going to let this evolve and make it excite me. Whereas I can't do that. My friend Michael and I have been picking apart movies since we were 13 years old. That's exactly what we've done for most of our childhood and adult lives. Is sit back and go, okay, I think this, and this is predict these types of things. So, but my point is, I enjoy it. But if this thing ends as just being a sort of now get ready for Doctor Strange in the multi-video in 2023, I'm just going to let out the loudest fuck you, and you're going to hear it in your house and be like, what was that? Was that Jason saying fuck you? I think it was.
Because
that's what's going to happen.
You may hear my remote hit the TV screen.
No joke.
And PJ saying it's going to be a cliffhanger.
Oh, for sure.
I hope not. I hope it gives some semblance of closure.
Right.
I've read some things.
Some, just like
online.
Here's what happens to Vision. Here's what happens to Wanda. Here's what happens to Agatha. I just want that to be a package. I don't want it to be, all right, if you want to know what really happens to this asshole director of S.W.O.R.D., you're going to have to watch Multivision. Because he's the worst actor. He's the only one that seems like a cardboard cutout in all this. Maybe there's a reason for that. But, I agree with you. It just, again, you will hear my rage. You are watching this show.
Throws me.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No.
I was just going to say, it still throws me that she is the older Olsen sister of Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen. It just that must have been a hell of a household to grow up in.
Yeah, especially I don't recall her doing a lot of TV, but maybe I'm wrong. Hey, you're watching this show as a JK. You made it through 40 minutes. Congratulations. It's your pals Jason and Keith. We have episodes online right here on this Facebook page. Every video episode we've ever done is archived right here. But if you need something for your commute or your workout and you need a laugh, you need just something, we've got that for you on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Amazon Music, and a few other places. Check those out. Just search for This Show as a JK, and you will find all of that. All right, let's switch gears. Sports has been quiet. I suppose the big news is that
Except
Russell Wilson is not asking for a trade, but wouldn't be minded to be traded to what is it? The Bears, the Raiders, and then a couple of
Cowboys.
other. Was it the Cowboys on there?
The Cowboys were mentioned. Everything I've
Oh,
read
I
said the
miss. I
Cowboys were at the
overlooked
top of the
that.
list.
What do
Yeah.
you think of that? What do you think of
Yeah.
Russ going to the Cowboys?
Yeah, it depends on what are they trading for Dak? Are they just
Yeah,
swapping?
yeah.
So I think Russell is a hell of a competitor, and I think he's a
He's won a
winner.
Super Bowl.
Um, yeah,
It's one
I
more than
wouldn't
Dak's
be
one.
upset. Yeah, I wouldn't be upset if he came to the Cowboys.
Right.
I want to give Dak his proper
We'll get there,
chance.
PJ.
He was having a hell of a season before he got hurt.
Right.
Now he had to have a hell of a season because the defense wasn't doing jack shit. But um, so it's tough.
Right.
I wouldn't mind seeing him. I wouldn't mind seeing him go to the Cowboys.
That's it. It's just interesting because so I'm a USC fan. So when Pete Carroll sort of got run out and all the accusations of cheating, I'm still a Pete Carroll guy. I like Pete Carroll a lot, although I think he's like a flat earther and a 9/11 conspiracist. But I like him a lot for some. I just think he's a good dude. But he tends to wear on people pretty quickly because if he's kind of a rah rah guy, and I think he's done the best that he can over that time. So maybe Russell Wilson's kind of making an indicator. Hey, um, you know, I think if I want me to move, I'll move. So I'm good with that. So anyway, that's interesting. I guess Ben Roethlisberger is coming back for a 51st season. I I don't.
That surprises me.
He just looks fat and old. I mean, I can't
He
honestly
does.
believe that. Again, they won 10 games against like the Mormon Tabernacle Choir, DeVry Institute of Technology,
Shawnee's
Hair Club
School
for
for the Blind.
Men,
Yeah.
right? And then they faced actual teams and they went like 0-7 or whatever into the playoffs. And I think it has a lot to do with how adept he is at running that offense anymore. And I know they've run off Antonio Brown and they've run off a couple of other people who are real difference makers
Le'Veon
there,
Bell.
but they still have guys who can make plays, and I just don't think he's able to get them the ball in such a way that they could do that. So that's interesting. And then none of the other trades are resolved, although a great rumor that I saw yesterday was, and we'll get to Tiger Woods here next, but a great rumor I saw yesterday flipping through Instagram was Jameis Winston to the New England Patriots. So
I've seen that.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's incredibly productive, but he's productive in that way that's Ryan Fitzpatrick is, where he'll go like 3 or 4 games and have 4 touchdowns and 400 yards, and then have 3 or 4 games where he'll throw 5 interceptions and have negative 96 yards. And it's really strange, but I guess he's in New Orleans now, so maybe he got some tutelage or something like that. So
Hopefully.
yeah.
And speaking of New Orleans, no word from Drew Brees yet.
Oh, not yet. He's gonna come back. They haven't found a place
You
for him
think?
on the Today Show yet, so or whatever he's been promised. So they don't have a place for him to like cook or show off clothing or do anything like that yet. Or maybe he's going to work on NBC Sunday Night Football and they just don't have a spot for him there yet. But who knows? All right, let's talk about Tiger Woods.
Yeah. Yeah.
So last I heard on Tiger was that his right leg was basically shattered in a million places, and they've got a steel rod in there, and both bones were pretty fucked up. So I think it was a lot. It was akin to Alex Smith's football injury, but worse. And then he had some muscle trauma as well. They had to fix that, so that
Yep.
tells me his muscles got ripped up, probably from maybe the metal or whatever. And I'm just speculating. And then his left leg
I saw a
was
line
kind
that
of fucked
said
up.
I saw a line that said it was a protrusion break, which to me means compound fracture.
Right.
So the bones coming out of the skin, out of the muscle, that
Right.
kind of thing. Yeah, it was sounded pretty horrific.
So that's the old news. The new news is people speculating on whether or not he'll ever golf again. So, first, it's too early to tell that. Second, the guy won a Masters after just having back surgery. He won the U.S. Open while basically enduring a knee that was completely fucked up. And he's won a couple tournaments where he's gone in with at least 102-degree temperature. My thought is
Right.
just my initial wash on this is yeah, he'll be back to play golf in some form. Will it be in a year? Nope. Will it be in 2 years? Probably. Will he be Tiger Woods again? Maybe. But the way that he swings the club and the amount of torque he creates and all that stuff was this thing that ripped up his back. Can he still do all that again? Maybe not. So maybe his re-entry. Oh, okay. Well, that's different. Talking 8 to 12 months of recovery with a big chance of returning to golf. All right. Well, that's great. So that's even better than I thought. But again, uh, it of course I'm positive about that. It just remains to be seen what he can further do. Look, Tiger Woods is 40 odd years old. Somebody will post that for me. He's won as well as Jack Nicklaus did, if not, he was almost to that point. He's got nothing left to prove. People just keep thinking, Tiger needs to get back on course and do something else. Well, he's done all that. He's done it, like he's beaten people by like
Yeah.
20 strokes. He stopped entering smaller tournaments on easier courses because he knew he would lap guys. It would be and remember in Vegas for a time, the betting was Tiger and the rest of the field. That's how you had to bet. It was who was going to finish first in the other tournament that didn't include Tiger Woods, right? So you literally had to bet on, okay, Tiger's going to win, but of the other people who could finish second through 31st, who do you want? I'm like, oh, I guess I'll take Mickelson, right? So I feel like he's got. I like Tiger a lot, and I think he's one of these guys that since he was 3 years old has been bullied into being what he is right now. And I think at this point, again, I point to there's a couple of great ESPN. I think there's an ESPN the magazine article and there's a Sports Illustrated article. I highly recommend if you're out there in this show's a JK land, reading those, finding those, and reading those about how he went to train with Navy SEALs and the Navy SEALs eventually got fucking sick of him and they're like, why is he here with us? Why does he need to come train and work out with us? And how most of the time, like he would sit at home and play video games and not even think about golf, and a few of the other things that sort of make him an interesting character and more than just this sort of guy. So my opinion is it's great to see PJ's updated info saying he'll recovery with a big chance of return, as Alex Smith did with football. Healing's a lot more advanced nowadays, yada yada yada. But I just think people have an expectation that if he doesn't do as well, if he doesn't beat Nicklaus's records, as PJ pointed out, then he's more like Duffy Waldorf or something. And people go, who the fuck is Duffy Waldorf? And you go, yeah, exactly. But he's not. He's probably the greatest golfer of our generation. He's
Of course.
probably the greatest golfer of the span of time that there has been professional golf in terms of accomplishing what he's accomplished on both a amateur and a professional level. But I don't know. How do you feel about any of this?
Tiger, I think people follow Tiger, and your dad has or said that there's no reason why. Well, we don't need to know the
He
reason
drove
why.
fast and
He
drove off the
crashed, and
road.
that's it.
That's it. Yeah, he drove too
Yeah,
fast. He
and
the
that's
road that
it.
he was driving on was very windy. He probably went to his phone, or he probably looked in the rearview mirror, missed a turn, went off the edge, and rolled it. That's what it sounds like to me.
The the sheriff's department said people speed through that area all the
Yep.
time. It's notorious for speeding.
Yep.
So there you had. He was going to a video shoot. No, in fact, the sheriff said no reports or no indication of any narcotics or alcohol. So
Right.
anyway, Tiger is what Tiger is because he was so. He was young when he started winning. B, he did it in such a fashion, as you alluded to, that he was, I like the term you used, lapping
Yeah.
everybody. And
Another way to say
and
it.
there's a great ESPN, one of those 30-second spots, AFN shows, where he's walking through the ESPN studios. He goes, "Hey, Stu,"
That's the
talking
best.
to Stuart Scott. "Yeah, hey, Stu, we going to lunch? We still going to lunch?" He goes, "Oh yeah, sure." And he just keeps walking, and there's this whole gallery of people walking through the ESPN studios behind him. So that's what it was like on the golf course. That's what it was like, especially with the advent of social media, who can follow Tiger, who can follow golf.
Hmm.
So, yeah, Tiger is, and I agree with you, Tiger is the golfer of our generation.
Yeah.
And I think he's the golfer for, I mean, even my dad likes watching Tiger. Tiger makes watching golf
Yeah.
more fun.
Well, there it is.
Now, people,
Go ahead.
people go, how can you sit and watch golf? Number one, I played and I tried to learn by osmosis for one. Number two, it's exciting to watch people like Tiger, like who's the new guy? Oh, crap, I can't think. But Rory and even when DeChambeau was hitting a mile last year,
He hasn't put anything good
that's
together.
just fun to watch. No, he hasn't done jack shit
No,
this year,
no.
but watching those guys do that, it's fun for, and you don't even have to be a golfer.
Right.
As long as you understand just a little bit of golf, it can be fun for you.
So 3 points before we wrap up the show here. One is the difference Tiger made to television ratings cannot be discounted, and that's part of when I did my little bit on it, whatever he doesn't have to do anything else. He's good, but the networks, his sponsors, and everyone else know that when he's in a tournament, the ratings go, and you can't see it if you're just listening, but from bottom to top, I mean, they go through the roof. So whoever's
They
got
really
golf,
do.
that's especially if it's Tiger Woods is playing on Saturday and Sunday, and Tiger's only 4 shots off the lead, because that was basically the 90s and when he was in his prime. Tiger's 4 shots off the lead. I guess Tiger will be hoisting the trophy tomorrow. I will tune in and watch him just eat everybody up and come back from. Even if I think the most I saw him down was like 7 or 8 shots. He came back and just won by 4. And because guys would be like,
Yeah.
shit, Tiger's on. And then their psyche would get shaken, right? So that was just a
Yep.
big, big deal. So network numbers, the Tiger comeback. And here's the other thing, and PJ brought this up. He said, agree, the layperson won't truly understand his importance to golf unless he does break those records. And then what's going to happen? It's going to become racially charged, like it always does with these things. Oh, well, of course he was. He's more athletic because he's African American. So how wouldn't he? And well, he didn't break those records, so I guess that proves something, or whatever. Whatever these histrionic assholes want to say about white and black relations. But it will become a racial thing, whether he breaks the record or he doesn't break the record. And it won't be acknowledged by some, and it'd be all that horse shit over and over again. Whatever. In my opinion, I think he is the greatest golfer to have played the game, amateur and professional. I think there are things he's done that will not be equaled for a very long time. I think there are a number of golfers who are very good right now, but they're not as much fun to watch as he is, because they don't have the built-in killer instinct that Tiger Woods has. And that is a generational sort of attribute that only has been hanged on very few players. Michael Jordan is the only other player that I can recall in another sport who had that kind of killer. Well, maybe Roger Clemens in baseball, although I despise him. He had it pretty good. But there's just a killer instinct to not just win and focus on your sport and do a thing, but to just absolutely murder whoever else you're playing with mentally or whatever else. And if that means through shit talking, if that means just through a look or how you drive the ball, or just instilling the kind of fear, knowing that person, they're going to watch you play and they're going to go, I can't beat this guy. He's too good. That's it. That's whatever they do. And with Michael Jordan, he was the best shit talker in the league, so he would just wear you
Oh,
down.
yeah.
I remember there's so many stories of him like, listen, I'm going to hit that jump shot all fucking night, and I'm going to put 50 on you, so you might as well just pack it in. And I mean, they're all great stories. Now, when Tiger was in his prime, he wasn't necessarily liked when he was out there on the course, and it's probably because he said something like, I'm going to be doing that all day. When he was paired up with the last day pair, I'm going to be doing that all day. So, just try to keep up. It's like, what the fuck do you do?
Yeah.
That's not in the golf code. I mean, golfers are gentlemen, and they don't talk like that. Like, who cares? Win, 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 win. Win by 10, win by 12. Come back by 5 strokes. And then as a corollary, the TV ratings went through the roof because they knew he was doing it.
Yep.
So again, his personal misgivings and the things that have happened to him aside, I still think he is one of the greatest sports figures, definitely of my generation, and that's untarnishable unless he just goes and like mass murders some people. So, you want to wrap anything else up
Yeah,
before we
you're
get out of
exactly
here?
right. I mean, you can watch Tiger play, and I'm guilty. I love those knife blade or
Love
the
it.
blade collar shirts he wears now. Love it. I have three of them because I've seen Tiger wear them.
Oh, I forgot about
So
just pure
and
sales of things that he sold through Nike.
I'm a grown ass man,
Hmm.
and I go out and buy that stuff
That's right.
because I see him wearing
There are
it.
many
I
grown ass
think
men who
it'll
do
make
that.
me yes.
You're not
So anyway,
alone.
no, the only thing I want to wrap up with
My ears itch.
is say goodbye to the beard.
Right, I forgot
Say
to needle
goodbye.
you about that. All right, tell us what the plan is first of all.
I think it's going to be tonight. I think
Tonight.
I think I
I
said
thought you were going
earlier
to wait till you got your
I
hair cut.
forgot. Well, I don't remember when that is. It's either Tuesday or Wednesday.
You're not going to
So
wait
I
that
think
long.
I'll just go and start tonight. Leave it a little bit
All
shaggy
right.
for the person to clean up,
Yeah.
and we'll go from there. So say goodbye to the winter molting, the winter molts, and hopefully it'll usher in spring a little bit
Dan
faster.
Haggerty, Grizzly Adams, goodbye. All right, we'll see how this. Well, I mean, in the illustration that we have of each other, it's a baby-faced Keith, so we'll have to welcome that back. So,
Well, it
all
may
right.
run our new coworker off. She hasn't seen me without a beard.
No, no, you're like, who the fuck are you? All right, next week we will have the bracket, which will appear tomorrow. We'll start publicizing the shit out of that tomorrow. The bracket on best movie one-liners. I don't know if yours will make it, but we always try to be inclusive, and this will be a 16-pound bracket, so that means it will probably take us a couple of weeks to get through. The 12s usually are faster, the 8s and the 12s, but 16s are usually two-parters, but thanks to my dad, it's a pretty good idea, so we're going to run with that. Also, what else is next? We'll update you on, of course, whatever they said in the March 3rd meeting in the local hour,
Yeah.
and we'll get back to you on the health of Germany. So thanks for joining us again. Don't forget we're on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, and all the right places. So please download and give us a review. We'd appreciate that. And all the shows, the video shows are back. You can go find your favorite topic and visit those there. Anything else to say, Cowboy?
No. Everybody have a good week. Enjoy. Wear your masks.
Wear your
Please
mask.
do what you need to do and get that shot.
Ta ta.